Hey everybody, the other day I shot a video about using GFCI or ground fault circuit interrupter receptacles here in our fish rooms, and it gives us an added layer of protection when working around electrical equipment in our aquariums. I'll go ahead and attach a card if you hadn't seen that video already. It's worth checking out. Again, the simple $20 device may save your life someday. So in that video, this is just going to be a follow-up to it. One of the comments I got by it was by somebody asking me, and they weren't, giving me a hard time or anything. They were just genuinely asking me if I unplugged my, why didn't I unplug my equipment before I serviced an aquarium? And that's a fair enough question, because that is generally recommended. If you're going to get in and do a water change, you should always unplug your heater, unplug your power head. And I know you should do that, but I don't, and the more I got to thinking about it, the more I got to wondering how many people really do. And that's really the point of this video, is I just want to sort of talk about this topic as a follow-up to using those GFCIs, and I would like to get other people's feedback. I'd like to find out how many other people go through the process of unplugging all their equipment and everything every time they put their hands in the tank, because that's what it boils down to. It's not just a matter of when you do a big water change and am I going to be sticking my hands in the tank while I'm working on the filter, or while I'm touching the power head, or I'm touching the heater. If you've got a power head in your tank, or if you've got a heater in your tank, you've got any source of electricity that's in your tank, then anytime you put your hand in that water, you should be unplugging all of those devices, not just the heater, but any heater, any power head, any lights that are submerged, anything where the actual electric cord goes down into the water. So a hang on the back filter would not count. Your a canister filter would not count. This would have to be an electrical device submerged in the water. And therefore, anytime you put your hands in the water, you would have to get in there and unplug it. It's not just a matter of touching the heater or touching the power head, it's touching the water that becomes dangerous. And so if you feed your tank and you swish your fingers around in the water to swirl the food around, do you get in there and do you unplug your heater and your power head before you stick your finger? Like literally every time you put your hand in the tank, you're running the risk of potential electrocution. It's an extremely low risk, depending on what kind of water you have. Your water may not even be that electrically conductive. I understand all that, and that's exactly my point, is going to these great lengths of disconnecting all our power equipment every time we do anything with an aquarium just seems unrealistic to me. It just doesn't seem like something that most people usually do on a regular basis. Again, I can't imagine everybody stopping like that. They were going to reach in and pull that, dead leaf off of their plant, but you got to stop first, and you got to unplug your filter, and you got to crawl under there to where your power head's plugged in. You got to unplug that. Then you got to reach in, pull that dead leaf out, and then crawl back under there and get the power head plugged back in. I just don't see people doing that. And if you're not going to do that, then why do it when you're like physically touching? I mean, unless you're like grabbing the wire or you're messing with bending the wire, it really is not making any difference. So putting your hand in the water is when you would need to unplug your electrical equipment, not just when you're in there working on that electrical equipment. So if you're one of those people that recommends, you should always unplug your, heaters or whatever when you're doing a water change. Now, I'm not talking about unplugging your heater when you do a water change so that the heater doesn't come on and get hot and all that kind of stuff. That's a different aspect. I'm talking about the electrical safety aspect of servicing our tanks while those electrical components are plugged in. And if you're going to unplug those electrical components while you're servicing the tank, then you would have to do it every single time your hands were wet. I mean, if you're just touching the top edge of the tank and it's wet, and you would have to unplug your plugs in order to truly be protected from an electrical shock. Again, I think all of that seems to be a bit extreme and overkill necessary. We just don't need to do all that. We don't have that dangerous of an environment. It's just potentially dangerous. The rare possibility that you could get seriously hurt support exists. And so for my solution, it's the simple $20 solution. You plug all your electrical stuff into that, and then on the rare case that something does go extremely wrong and you do wind up having a huge jolt of electricity go through your body, it'll be over just like that. It will not continue shocking you if you use one of these GFI circuit breaker type receptacles, or you can even have one installed in your main bus panel, and then that whole entire circuit will be protected. But that, of course, is a lot more expensive. It requires an electrician in most cases. So simply buying one of these little $20 plug-in GFCI receptacles and then plugging everything into that, then you don't need to worry about it. Still not a bad idea to unplug your filter, you know, your heaters and stuff before you're sticking your hands in your tank. I'm not saying that's not a good idea, but there's a lot of things that are good ideas that we don't do because they just are, you know, a little more ridiculous. You know, do you brush your teeth after every time you eat something? Probably some of you do, but the vast majority of us do not carry around a toothbrush to brush our teeth after every time we have some little bite of anything. You're supposed to brush your teeth immediately afterwards. Most people don't do that, and most people are not going to unplug all their electrical equipment every single time they get their fingers wet in their fish tank, and I just don't think that's realistic. So again, I really do think that my solution of just simply having that extra layer of backup where if something does go catastrophically wrong, you may get a shock, but that's all it's going to be. It's going to be a pow, and it's going to, you know, tingle your arm or something, and then it's going to be over and done, and you're going to be fine. So I'd like to hear your opinion about that. That's the whole point of this video, is I'd like to hear your thoughts, comments. Are you one of those people that recommends unplugging it, but had never thought about, well, you know, I don't unplug it when I feed my fish, when I, you know, or when I stick my hand in the fish, you know. So anyway, just give me your comments, give me your thoughts. I'd really like to hear where you stand on that, because right now I'm just kind of going by speculation. I'm just going by what I think the way people would respond, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm the oddball out here. Everybody else is always really good about unplugging all their equipment and everything, and I'm just the lazy one or whatever. I don't know, but I'd like to hear your thoughts, so put them down below. Don't forget, I do a live stream every Friday night and Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and I do post a video every day, so make sure you're subscribed, ring that bell, you won't miss any of my uploads. Thanks for watching this one. Hope you enjoyed it. I'll see you real soon in the next one.